I tripped on these things yesterday. I'd like you to, I know it's early, but I'd like you to use your brains for a moment. When I give you this image, I'd like you to think what people normally think of this scenario, okay? If I mention the words Adam and Eve, what are the images that pop into your head? The garden, right? Being naked, right? Eating the apple, so to speak, from the tree of good and evil, right? And subsequently, Adam and Eve leaving the garden. Let me give you something to think about. What would happen if not just an act of punishment because they disobeyed God, but what would have happened if God asked them to leave the Garden of Eden out of an act of love? What would have happened? Well, let's look at it this way. What's it like in the garden? You have everything you need. You don't have to worry about food. You don't have to worry about shelter. You don't have to worry about clothes. You don't have to worry about emotions. Everything is sterile, so to speak. Wonderful, but sterile. Could Adam and Eve, from this conjecture, truly have a one-on-one relationship with God? If everything is prepared for them, if they don't have to worry about anything, could they have had a relationship with God? Not just a superior to inferior relationship, but the reason why God made the world in the first place, to share himself. Some theologians would say no. So God asked them to leave the garden to learn about themselves, and by learning about themselves, to learn how they differ with other people, thus learning how to have a relationship. And when they were having their own unique relationship, they could have a unique relationship with God the Father. They had to put up, though, with the rigors of life. They had to make their own shelter. They had to think how they would get food. They would have to go out and get the food. They would have to learn how to deal with people who don't like the things that you like. But yet, in the end, when it came to their relationship with God, their life would be so much richer. The relationship with God would have so much value. We have people in the world that say, if only God did this, or if only we were like this, or if only that was like that, everything would be ideal. The danger, though, with those types of thoughts is that we would lose our individuality, and thus the capability to love God. Do you remember a movie back in the 1990s called Pleasantville? Anybody remember that movie? Okay. What it was, the movie was about this TV show. It was one of those shows, that we saw from the 1950s. The Father Knows Best type of thing, the Donna Reed type of thing. where everything was ideal. And these two characters who live in the real world get somehow caught up in this black and white world. And they awaken color. They awaken people's minds. And they start thinking for themselves. And in the end, everybody grabs some color, to the dismay of the judge, who wants to stop all this, to make everything ideal. And it doesn't happen. The lives that we live are each unique to every one of us. And it's because of that uniqueness that we have life. God gave us the talents. God gave us the abilities. We put into flame those gifts. And while there are ideals, the right to life and such, they could never be appreciated unless they came from the heart. How many people do not understand what freedom is until they lose their freedom? How many people don't understand death until they lose a family member? We celebrate respect life, but do we truly understand what life is? Do we live it? There are some drawbacks. Because God gave us the ability to make decisions, free will, because of human error, nothing is ideal in the world. There are abortions, there are spousal abuses, there are elderly abuses, there are killings, there are murders, and the like.